Okay, boom. Eddie Hearn went on Talksport today and put it on Simon Jordan. Now, there's a couple talking points here that I do want to go through, I'm a Eddie Hearn critic. He is a big hypocrite, but he did kind of shut Simon Jordan down today. And I like a bit of Talksport, I'll listen to it when I'm driving to the gym and all that kind of stuff. But I think that an issue that Simon Jordan has sometimes is he doesn't listen. And because he doesn't listen, he like picks and chooses his arguments. And Eddie Hearn kind of blitzed him a little bit because the first part of the show was like, it was pretty good. They kind of, they did what they did. But then the argument went straight to something personal when Simon Jordan was on the back foot and he said something about how Eddie Hearn inherited a business. And Jim White, or whatever his name is, didn't really let Eddie Hearn retort that because that's more of a personal jibe. And the reality is, yes, Eddie Hearn inherited a business, and Eddie Hearn went on the attack about how Simon Jordan built a startup to 100 million, apparently, and lost it all. And it's not really about what they were there to talk about. So when Simon goes for the personal jibes, I always feel like he's losing the argument. And the first big argument was that why did Eddie Hearn say that he cannot cancel fights? He doesn't have the power to cancel fights. Only the British Board of Control and UCAD can cancel fights. But this time he cancelled the fight. That was like the big argument. And Eddie Hearn kind of went back to him, well, this time we're the sole promoters of the show. There was also the thing about the British Board of Control knowing when Dillian White failed the VADA test. And Simon Jordan was like adamant that it was Friday. So Eddie Hearn said, yeah, get Robert on the phone then. Get Robert on the phone. And it turned out, no, it was Saturday because he was saying, how could he know before we knew? And that was quite funny, actually, because when they got to that part of the argument, it sort of like killed Simon Jordan's fire because he was just messing up left, right, and centre, but he was saying it with such vim. And then they got onto the point about the bias and the kind of Talksport bias against AJ. And I've got to be 100% honest. I do think that they are biased and they do have a little bit of an agenda against AJ. I think everything he does, he gets kind of shat on. Excuse my French. But I think the one difference is that I think the big problem is when it comes to Tyson Fury, they don't give him that same vim. Yes, they criticize him, but they don't do it with the same kind of vim. When Frank Warren comes on the show, they're a little bit timid. They don't challenge him. And when Eddie comes on the show, they grill him. And I think that the biggest thing here is Eddie makes himself very accessible. He does interviews for everybody. He doesn't talk about like banning people from shows. It seems like Eddie's a bit more open. And obviously he's younger than Frank Warren. He kind of blew himself up on the social media and he used that social media kind of leverage for the matchroom business. Whereas Frank Warren's a bit old school. I don't even think Frank Warren like controls his Twitter. So it's a bit like Frank Warren's just got that old school kind of thing, that granddad thing where you can't talk crap to him. So when he comes on the show, they bow down to him and they get a bit scared. So I do think there is a little bit of an agenda. Obviously, I do agree with Simon Jordan that, as a fighter and, they're in this game, they got to have a bit of thick skin. But I do think Talksport, they're not like the biggest AJ kind of supporters. I do think there's a little bit of like, and here's the thing, it's a gift and a curse to be the golden boy because AJ is the golden boy of UK boxing, isn't it? So it's a gift and a curse, and criticism is going to come with that. So I just feel like Matchroom, AJ have to take it on the chin, but Talksport need to have a bit more balance. Like Gareth A. Davis, like he's an esteemed journalist, does what he does, congrats to him, but he's so scared of Tyson Fury and Frank Warren. Like some of his takes are like, I'm like, bro, you're in boxing. I'm a casual guy, casual fan. And some of his takes have me scratching my head like, what did you just say? Huh? But he's scared. And obviously, the thing about boxing, that is so annoying is that like, it seems as if you're a reporter or whatever and you talk out against somebody, you'll get banned from the press conferences. You don't get access to the fighters anymore. So they all have to tread on very thin ice. So that's why when guys like Adam Catterall, the Fight Disciples kind of guys, they don't care. They will say what they want. They work for TNT Sport, like they do the UFC stuff. They kind of say whatever they want, which is good for them because they don't go to the press conferences and they don't suck up to the boxers, which is a gift and a curse for them because maybe they could have even more exposure. But Gareth A. Davis kind of needs to be in that circle. That's his line of work. So when he comes out with those really poor takes on AJ or these weird takes to do with Tyson Fury, it's coming from a place of he needs to keep his bag secured because of work and his job and his, you know. So it's weird, man. It is weird. This is definitely going to become like a boxing channel. It is weird though, man. But yeah, the premise of this is, what do you guys think? Obviously, the majority of people, I'm looking on Twitter right now, and the majority of people are saying that Eddie Hearn wiped the floor with Simon Jordan, and I do agree. I think the problem is Simon Jordan, although he does know about boxing, he only knows so much. Like he didn't grow up in boxing. He's a fan just like everybody else, and he just got himself really informed. So therefore, it's kind of created this situation that sort of like, it's sort of, how do I describe it? It sort of feels like he doesn't know what he's talking about, but because he speaks well and because he's harsh and straight to the point, he speaks with such conviction as if everything he's saying is fact. And I think that that's the problem, because it's not factual. He isn't speaking facts, and that makes it a little bit more difficult, I think, and that makes it harder to argue with him. So when people do get on, it seems like he's talking a big game and everything he's saying is right, but the reality is that it's not, because he's kind of just waffling a little bit, to be honest. And yeah, man. Anyway, one more part as well, the Conor Benn situation. Give Conor Benn a break, man. He failed. We all know he's a drug cheat. Allegedly, sorry, I'm not allowed to say allegedly. Don't want to get any letters in the post or anything. Allegedly, he's a drug cheat. So I don't see the point of even like going back and forth on that anymore. Like, it's been over a year now. Whether it's a backdated ban or whatever it is, whatever. Money talks in boxing or in sport in general. So it is what it is. Whether he's cleared or he's got his British boxing license, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, Eddie Hearn beat Simon Jordan today. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what else you want to see. We got fitness content coming very, very soon. Workouts, stuff to improve your physical performance. If you want to join the high performance newsletter, just hit the link in the description. And yes, the Sporting Casual